Here lies Cracker Johnson, the Black Robin Hood of the Palm Beaches. Cracker Johnson was a black man with blue eyes and straight hair, which made him pass for white, and that is how he got the name Cracker. You see, Cracker Johnson was born in Savannah, Georgia, to a white father and a black mother in 1877. The word cracker back then was what black people called white people back in the day. Cracker Johnson couldn't read or write that well, so at the age of 16, he left home to become a cabin boy on a freighter ship and went on to see the world. He learned a lot on the ship, how to handle people and how to move products, mainly alcohol, which would become a valuable skill later in life. Cracker Johnson also became one hell of a gambler on the boat. Once Cracker Johnson finished his travels around the world, he went on to be a constable and moved to Florida. In 1893, Flagler bought land on a little-known barrier island called Palm Beach. He built the Royal Hacienda, which was the largest resort hotel in the world. It had 6 floors and 540 rooms. It and a small hotel nearby called the Breakers became gathering places for wealth and fashion during the season from December to April 1st. After Flagler built a railroad bridge onto the island, wealthy people traveled down in private rail cars for parties, golf, tennis, boating, bathing, and fishing. To accommodate the workers who built the hotels, Flagler established a community of tents and shacks called the Sticks on the island. He generally treated the workers, many of them African Americans, well, but he didn't want them living near him, so he laid out a city across the lake and built homes, churches, government buildings, creating the city of West Palm Beach. Legend has it that Flagler's henchmen burned out anyone who didn't budge. As the story goes, he brought a carnival to town, Pleasant City, and provided free tickets to all of his black employees, emptying the compound. When the residents returned, their homes were in embers. A century later, that's the accepted accounts of events for many in Palm Beach County. Thing is, fires were common in those days of pot-belly stoves and open heathers. A shanky town like the Sticks could have been especially vulnerable at that time.
Those people from like the Bahamas, the Bahamians, it was mostly Bahamians here as opposed to black folks, you know. I mean, well, American black folks. You understand what I'm saying?
There were numerous fires around the island, including at some of the fancy resorts that had nothing to do with arson. But Pleasant City was built for all those displaced workers. By law, blacks were only allowed to live in these sections of the city that have been generally enforced under an agreement of many years. Beginning in 1920, though the deal was never official, Marshal Joseph Borman ran Whitetown and Cracker Johnson ran Blacktown. The West Palm City police were known to tip him off when raids were planned, so no evidence of illegal substance would be found. With Cracker Johnson being a constable, it was easy for Cracker Johnson to enforce the law in Blacktown and to keep everyone in check. Cracker Johnson built a jail in Blacktown. Because of Jim Crow laws, blacks and whites could not be housed together. So we had a white jail and a black jail. Cracker Johnson was in charge of law and order in Blacktown, but he built himself an empire as a bootlegger and running Bolita. Bolita is a lottery game, or as we like to call it, running the numbers.
Well, I heard that he was a number man, Bolita man, you know, he sold numbers. That's what I heard, and I knew his son, right? And his son worked over in Palm Beach, so I can understand why his son was working. He was supposed to be a millionaire, much money, but you know, he was working over there in Palm Beach.
He created the Florida Bar and Restaurant, where all the staff were required to dress in cutaway dinner jackets, tuxedo trousers, winged collared dresses, and shirts with studs, and cliff links and bow ties. During the Harlem Renaissance period, Blacktown was doing very well under the leadership of Cracker Johnson. Blacks had their own homes and businesses. Because Cracker Johnson lent blacks money when the white banks could not. Cracker Johnson also opened a pawn shop, opened his own real estate business, which opened the doors for other blacks to open their own businesses, drug and grocery stores, beauty shops and barber shops. Cracker Johnson was truly the Black Robin Hood. He was the banker, the cop, the bootlegger, the numbers runner, the real estate Mongol, and he ran the Florida Bar and the Dixie Theater. In 1920, Cracker Johnson was making about $10,000 a day. He enjoyed the best of what Palm Beach had to offer. Because he could pass as white, he was free to go into Whitetown anytime he wanted. He enjoyed the best of what West Palm Beach had to offer. Because he could pass as white, he was free to go into Whitetown anytime he wanted, which meant he can go to all the events in Whitetown and then come back to Blacktown and enjoy the Negro Baseball League games when they came to town at Old Lincoln Field, which is now Coolman Park. Every winter, the best of the best came to West Palm Beach to play for Henry Flagler Hotel League. Cracker Johnson always went on trips to see Jack Johnson fight, including the night he knocked out Jim Jeffries, who is also known as the Great White Hope. Cracker Johnson travels extensively around the country and Cuba, but he built his home here in West Palm Beach. His home had an automatic sprinkler system, special awnings that served as shutters. He had palm trees installed to house the parrot caged in those trees, and the house still stands today. In 1928, Okeechobee hurricane made landfall in the town of Palm Beach with sustained winds of 160 miles per hour. Category 5 was one of the deadliest hurricanes to hit the United States. With high winds and storm surge, caused damage to 610 businesses, 1,711 homes, and over 2,500 people in Belgrade. The damage in 1928 totaled $10 million in West Palm Beach and $100 million in Palm Beach County. The hurricane killed over 4,112 people in the county. There were so many people killed in Belgrade that they ran out of wood to create coffins. So they only made coffins for the white people that died and create a mass grave in West Palm Beach that they buried over 674 black people. Whites lied for years about the gravesite, but in 2003, the site was honored.
But the people that was buried on 23rd Street, it was like a sand pit over there in that area. Okay. And a lot of people was buried over there.
The city of West Palm Beach was broke, and Cracker Johnson gave the city $50,000 to rebuild the city. Without the $50,000, West Palm Beach would not be the city it is today. He purchased land all over Florida and used this to build himself an empire that by 1928 he can claim on his tax returns a worth of $971,000. Cracker Johnson accomplished this in an era of extreme violence towards blacks in Florida throughout the South. It was a time when southern states used the penal system to re-subject the former slaves. He accumulated a large fortune in this area where black cities were being burned to the ground for such things. Florida in this time, through 1880 through 1930, had 282 lynchings of blacks, the highest rate in the South, more than twice the rate than Georgia, Louisiana, and Mississippi, according to Marvin Dunn in his book The Beast in Florida. According to tax records, his earning in 1926 was $687,000. In 1927, it was $792,000. And in 1928, it was $971,000. Over the years, Cracker Johnson's house keeps standing in West Palm Beach. Sadly, Cracker Johnson was shot in the back. His death a mystery as people rumor about white mobsters killing him, but no one really knows. But at his funeral, hundreds of people came to send him off. Cracker Johnson had a big input in Florida in its beginnings. Hopefully one day he gets the recognition he deserves. No matter how much success Cracker Johnson received, his best feature was his deal-making abilities.